Now I'm going to ask Joseph Pandian to present the report of the CIAD because Graham West couldn't come and be with us. So Joseph is going to submit the CIAD project.
Yes. Brothers and sisters, as our Secretary General said, Brother Graham West, the chairman of CIAD, is unable to be with us. Therefore, I have undertaken to present a brief report on the activities of CIAD. A part of it has been already presented in the ITVP meeting. Therefore, I would like to request the ITVPs to put up with me for some time for the repetition. When Brother Renato took up as President General, he wanted to bring about some relevant changes in the organization of the CIAD team. He wanted to make it more representative by nature by appointing representatives from each region, making it really international. And also, we could see representatives from each region, and also some senior experienced members were invited to be part of CIAD team, like Brother Pius, John Lee, who have been in the structure and are very familiar with their respective regions. They have been included in the team. And also 2 members from the board were included in the team. Especially General Treasurer is there in the CIAD, so that any decision on finance need not be delayed and it can be taken on the spot with reference to the General Treasurer. And also we see 2 sisters, 2 ladies representing the region of Europe, and also technically sound people, though this internationalization in terms of money is more, is costing more, but now the CIAD team looks very international, very much professional, very comprehensive, and almost complete. And the main task of CIAD is only a reviewing of funding requests from SSVP countries. This consists of 3 categories: disaster relief, development and systemic change projects, and SSVP requests for SSVP. The first one, disaster relief, consists of 2 stages: emergency and rehabilitation. Emergency, the requests there need not be a budgeted request. There can be a simple request by email from any member of the structure or for the national president. Even if there is no request from the structure or national president, CIAD on its own accord will contact the members of the structure and the national president in case of disasters for emergency relief. The emergency relief is from 3,000 euros to 5,000 euros. It can be in one allotment or into installments. The rehabilitation is currently the major fund-consuming activity of CIAD. And for this rehabilitation, the finance mainly comes from the countries. Development and systemic change projects. There are not much of development and systemic change projects for lack of requests and for lack of funds. And the SSVP is another category that has been introduced by Brother Anato when he took up charge as 16th President General. This is SSVP Plus and SSVP Strengthening. SSVP Plus is establishing conferences in countries where there are no conferences, and also strengthening conferences and councils. There are many countries where there are few conferences. They are unable to sustain themselves, and they have nothing to maintain and manage the National Council, and some of them for formation and training, they are unable to generate funds. In these cases, SSVP Plus and SSVP Strengthening funds are sanctioned by CIAD. The working methods, we have CIAD has 2 meetings in a year. Now, no more, one more meeting is requested by the members, and it is not possible due to want of funds. And mostly we work through internet in between the meetings. And emergency process, we also tried video conferencing, and video conferencing was not a success due to different times and in different countries, and also the equipments, lack of equipments, and also the poor signals in the internet and other things. And CIAD regularly represents a report in the permanent section as it is being done now. CIAD is mainly working through the Solidarity Fund, International Fund for Solidarity. And the CIAD is appealing to the national councils, and it works only through the donations from the national councils. But CIAD does not appeal to any private agencies or organizations. It appeals only to the national councils. And there are some exceptionally private donations and also answers to appeals. In cases of disasters, and appeal is made by the President General, and there is huge response for these disaster appeals. But if there is an appeal outside disaster, the response is very poor. And the issue of flexibility, as we discussed in the case of Philippines, there are cases when we collect huge funds in response to disasters. Sometimes a part of the fund or portion of the fund is left unspent, and the flexibility in the use of such funds for other similar disaster is being discussed. For example, not that the money collected for disaster is not totally unspent. A part of it is not unspent. Not that there is no need, but the society there is unable to manage the funds. I can even quote examples of countries like Nepal, where 70% of the money has been spent for the rehabilitation on earthquake, and still the 30% is lying. Not that there is no need, there is greater need, but the society there, the conferences there are unable to manage the funds, and taking that into consideration, a formation and training program was also conducted in Nepal with a fund from SSVP. Administration. 100% the administration cost is from CGI funds. And and again, the question of levying on donations. Most of the charities levy on donations for administrative costs, and CIAD is not able to meet more frequently, number one. Number two, the field visits by the special project delegates and coordinators and ITVPs are not possible because of a lack of funds, administrative funds. But now, as far administration is concerned, the entire money is being spent by the CGI. Now there is another question is being discussed, levying some money on donations so that the field visits can also be undertaken to make the implementation of projects 100% successful. Issue of flexibility, asset flexibility and levying on donations, these are the two issues that are being considered to be included in the terms of reference for CIAD, and it has not been concluded. Any decision has not yet been arrived. It's being discussed, and any proposal will be submitted to the board for its approval. And can we consider levying the donations for administration and also flexibility are the two important questions. Communication. So this year, CIAD has come out with an annual report. Annual report, hereafter, every year in February, annual report will be published. The annual report is available in your pen drives, which will be distributed perhaps today or tomorrow. It's available, and it will be every year published in February. It provides, it's not a five-page report, not very elaborate, with the basic information, with some financial statistics and some pictures about the project supported by CIAD. And we also think of considering some future improvements, following up on projects. And following up on projects for which we have sanctioned the money is not taken up in a larger scale. And we are thinking of that, and reports, besides being presenting a report on for the permanent section, and further reports, periodical reports are being thought about, being considered to be implemented subsequently. And these are figurative representations of the recent statistics. Obviously, this needs no comment from me. Obviously, disaster consumes a lot of funds. If you are happy with this slide, we'll go to the next slide. Another form of 2018 statistics. And now some details about some of the main projects supported, some of the important projects supported by CIAD. Floods in Bolivia, Ivory Coast, India, Laos and France, earthquake in Indonesia, volcano in Guatemala, cyclones in Madagascar, Philippines and USA, victims of terrorism in Burkina Faso, Central African Republic and Burundi. Disaster rehabilitation in Philippines, 5-year program. Earthquake construction of 300 shelters in Nepal through Caritas Nepal. in Lebanon and Madagascar. This is disaster again. Medical mission, South Sudan. Home repairs, Rwanda. Food assistance. Food and crop for floods. Shoes and books for hurricane-affected children in Dominica. Some more. Some more. This is SSVP Plus, establishing conferences and strengthening existing conferences and councils. And this is disaster rehabilitation from Nepal. House construction, 300 houses. Obviously, you can see a Nepali child expressing gratitude for all of us, for he has been given a house through our assistance. CIAD wipes tears and brings cheers, and brings cheers in the lives of many, many people, even beyond your and my imagination. And therefore, we request your continued commitment of support to CIAD. Thank you very much.
Joseph, thank you for that, I think, very heartening presentation, and it's important that we are all aware of the importance of CIAD, and I'm very much working now to spread the benefits of CIAD into the Oceania region, so you'll be getting more work. One matter I'd just like to mention, and that is you discuss the issue of perhaps levying to cover administration costs, and you particularly mentioned the cost of the Zone Special Projects Coordinator visiting and overseeing that the projects are being properly carried out. I would view that as an absolutely normal part of any project planning expense. And I would think that as part of any budget for a project, you should have that oversight. And I wouldn't even see it as a levy. I'd see it as simply something that should be built into every budget for every project.
I will pass on this to CIAD team for its discussion. Yes. Yes, but on-site visit is very important, very important. When we send huge money, and not that it's not overseeing or supervising, but it's helping people, because many of the poor countries, they do not have the infrastructure and ability, skill and capability to carry out the projects. So we need to have on-site visits to make it totally a successful project and reachable to the poor people. Yes. Thank you, brother. Yes.
Thank you, Brother Joseph, for the wonderful presentation. Brother Joe, just one more question. You mentioned earlier on that in some countries there are funds sitting there that are not being utilized because of the inability of the SSVP in that country to do that. Is there any way of looking at perhaps where there is Caritas present in any particular country to see whether we can utilize their expertise to carry out, the extra work that is required. Because, there's a need and the people are suffering, but the money is there and nobody is benefiting from that. Is there possibility? I know it's not something that we want to do as SSCP. We would rather have our own people do it.
Yes.
But is there possibility of looking at that where there's where our SSVP is not active enough to be able to carry out the work?
Brother
Can CIAD look at that or not?
Brother Bertram, our former chairman of the CIAD, is willing to answer.
Oui, c'est une très...
Yes, it's a very good question, and the answer is we have already done that. We've done that. We are supported by Caritas in Nepal, and we're also supported by Caritas in Haiti. So yes, there's something that we have already done, and there's no reason not to do it in future. I would just like to add something to the this excellent presentation, and that is that there's been original funding that was obtained from the Felix's diocese, and it was an original funding. What was proposed in the Phoenix diocese was a series of projects, where the conferences all provide a contribution to a specific project. Now, this allowed us to gather a significant sum, about $60,000-$70,000, and this was obtained by sending projects to the conferences, projects that we needed to support, and there were development projects, not just in relation to disaster relief. And the Phoenix diocese experience was very positive, and that's something we should apply elsewhere, finding funds which are not just mobilized in the case of natural disasters, but also things for funds for funds for development. Now, I think that was a very good idea, and this is something that I've also discussed with Joseph, and to see how we can apply the same procedure elsewhere.
What I understand is that CIAD is one of the most fantastic tools that we have at the level of the society to help the poor. We see that continents work in a different way. And the truth is that there is no culture in terms of projects. I remember that I presented it in our report, Vice Presidents, that one of our priorities in South America is to create this project culture. So we are moving very slowly in South America. You can see that our participation in terms of the funds of CIAD is very, very low. Why? Because our national presidents, despite all the incentive, the encouragement that we are bringing and what we are doing in the region, we have our project coordinator is excellent, Rosa Maria. She's fantastic. Despite all these, the presidents and all countries, or most countries, do not have this culture. So this brings me now to another question. Training, formation. We need to work in our regions, asking for help, asking help from also from the vice presidencies in terms of training, so that we can also have training programs, how to prepare the projects, how to understand the funds lines, so that we can help the poor in the regions. At least I can speak of my region. The poor could be helped if we in fact had more skills in terms of carrying out our projects. So let's focus our attention on these, to bring new competencies to our national councils, to do projects in a correct way, adequate way, and then we can help CIAD. Many regions do not participate because of that, because they don't know how to carry out these projects, and they still do not understand the importance of CIAD.
Et je trouve que c'est
I think you're absolutely right. It's very relevant, this issue of cultural projects. We really do need to be able to train people in the culture of projects. This is something that we talk about in France as well. We need to develop this culture of projects. Is very, very important. It's very important for the society as a whole. It's definitely something that needs to be integrated into training, both internationally and nationally. We do need to look at that. What I propose, we're a little bit behind schedule. We're going to have a break. It was going to be a half-hour break, but given that we're half an hour behind time, I'm not going to say we're not going to have a break at all, but let's have a break of 15 minutes, okay? And then we can start the work again, and we can get back to the agenda later on. Thank you. So 15 minutes break.